20 minutes of trying to go live. Hello. Hey, Garnine. Just spent 20 minutes trying to go live so we can go live with my client. I'm gonna text, hey Marissa, I had to switch phones. So I have an old phone and this new one, it will not let me go live. So I just spent 20 minutes trying to go live. I'm gonna let my client come in here. Hey Garnine, I'm gonna text my Real Estate Bae Hive, my community, because I told them we were going live 20 minutes ago. 1 second, Marissa. You probably have to rejoin and just re-request in just a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah, it would not let me go live, you guys. So thank you so much for being patient. I'm gonna go ahead and let my client in because I am behind on time. Sorry, I'm close up on the screen. I'm behind on time, so let's go ahead and get our... I figured, Ron, you guys were gonna be in two different places. 1 second. So let me just put my caption on here. 1 second, you guys. If you're just joining us, we are running a little bit behind, but that's okay because the information that you need and the story that you need is right on time, okay? So we're gonna be going live with our clients, Ron and Marissa. I had a lot of technical difficulties. And so I'm just putting my caption up here. So as I get ready to join Ron and Marissa, you all, go ahead and drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. Drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. Okay. I think I just joined Ron and Marissa. Drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. Drop in the chat, drop in the chat, drop in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? Hey,
Hi.
Marissa.
Hi.
What's
Let
up?
me push this back. I was trying to mess with it. Okay. All right.
Oh, yes, Bang.
All right.
I love it. Let me see if I can get Ron in here. We got Cali in the building. We got Brooklyn, New York City. Is that two Brooklyns, another New York, Queens, New York. Okay, New York, Miami. As you join us, go ahead and drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time going live with our agency, give me a 1 in the chat if this is your first time going live with me. Okay, Ron, I'm gonna try to add you again. We got Philly in the building, Texas in the building, Atlanta in the building. It says he is unable to join. Oh no. No. Now Marissa is spinning. Okay, there's Marissa. It
Okay,
says
I'm back.
You're good. It says
That's all
Ron
right.
is unable to join. You hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
It's saying, this is going to be my third time trying to let him in.
Oh, weird.
Let's see.
There he is.
You got it. Awesome. Woo!
We worked it out.
We worked it out. I'm super excited to be going live with you guys. So everybody is dropping in the chat where they're from, and then you're dropping in the chat if this is your first time going live with me. And I'm going to introduce myself, and we're going to get right into it, because I know everybody is in different zip codes. What's up, John? So drop a 1 in the chat if this is your first time going live with the Bae Hive. I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to let my clients introduce themselves. So my name is Gabby, and I am the Real Estate Bae, and I own the Real Estate Bae Agency located here in St. Louis, Missouri, where we help new and first-time investors find and fund profitable real estate, increasing their assets. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Ron and Marissa introduce themselves to the people.
Okay. I'll let my husband go first.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Ron Zambrano. My wife and I live in the Los Angeles area, specifically Long Beach. And my wife comes from a background, and I'm going to let her talk about it, but she's been driving this, and she's been so awesome, and you have been so awesome, Gabby, about it. But I'm but just as background, I come from an immigrant household. I'm a first generation American, and went through the went to university, got a crap load of student loans that we worked very hard to pay off. It was very substantial, but after that, we focused we refocused our efforts on trying to figure out how to prepare for the future and passive income. And Marissa has been fantastic in finding ways to do it, and that's how we found you, Gabby. So Marissa, take it from there.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, Ron.
My mommy's online, so hi, mommy. Um, so I'm a first generation American, meaning my parents are from Mexico, and I grew up in the LA area, and I'm the oldest of four, and I grew up in neighborhoods that are primarily Black and Latino, and I knew early on that I wanted to invest, but I didn't know how. So Ron talked a little bit about paying down our student loans. So we run another Instagram account where we documented how we paid off our student loans. We paid off over $200,000 in student loans, and that was last year. And this year, last year we paid it off in 2 years. But that's the gist of it. I'm a first generation professional, first generation, graduate, post grad, and now we're here and we're learning to be first gen investors.
I love it. I didn't know that about you guys with the student loan debt. Y'all, listen, you guys, as we get into their story, they're full of surprises. So I'm super excited for the Bae Hive to kind of meet you. I do use your guys' story a lot in when I talk about things that when I push back against when people think things are impossible, when people think things are far away from them. I'm like, well, look at Marissa and Ron and Marissa, right? So I'm really grateful that you guys decided to go live with me to talk about your experience in the agency. But before we get into that, I'm really hopeful that we can share the story that moved me so much, the story of your father and Ron, your father-in-law, who, well, I won't get into it. I want you guys to share that story with the audience because I think it's profound.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of my dad. So my dad is an immigrant from Mexico. He came to the United States. I think he was 17, maybe a little older. When my dad came, he had no papers, did not speak English, and has a 6th grade education. In Mexico, that's common, where you stop school and you go work on the farms. Staying in Mexico meant that his family would stop. So he came to the United States and he was homeless for a little while until he got on his feet. He had no network. He was the first from his farm, his area. And he used to be one of those people that would work on, try to get work on the side of the road to do, construction work. And over that, my father's very smart. As I mentioned, he didn't know how to read or write, but he's super smart. And he learned how to build houses. So what he did between the time of being 17 and the time I was born was he saved up for a house. So this is a man with a 6th grade education, doesn't know how to read, doesn't know how to write, doesn't speak English, but he knows that owning property is, you need to do it. And so he convinced my mom and his brother and my aunt.
Uh-oh.
She's coming back. She'll come back.
So he convinced them that they needed to buy their first home, And the story is that my mom pushed back because she said rent's going to be cheaper, rent is cheaper, and he said, and it's not always going to be cheaper. And my dad made my mom buy their first house. From that first house, they were able to join resources and buy their second investment and buy their third investment. And now they own, I think they own about 58 stores in Los Angeles. So millionaire several times over. My dad still doesn't speak English, and as far as education, my mom will write out his timesheet for him and help copy it. My dad does work 9 to 5 still, so he works 9 to 5, and he comes home and works 5 to 9 in his apartment. And that's how they've been able to expand their portfolio. All of the houses are in neighborhoods that are hood neighborhoods. But you know what? It's been good to my family. From that, from their investment, they paid for my university education. So I was accepted into a really good university. At one point there was talk where we couldn't afford for me to go, but my dad said this is what the investment is for, and they refinanced and sent me to college.
Wow.
So with that degree, I was able to, have my own 9 to 5 job, and now we're here. So I'm very proud of my family. If you look at my dad right now, he's often confused for a homeless person, because he just drives a beat up truck and he packs his clothes in a garbage bag. And like I mentioned before, my family we're ranch people, and you don't show off, and that's how he grew up, and that's where the baton has been handed to his children. So we're at it in Beth.
Listen, you guys, I get so fired up, and we're gonna get into it. So I just want to reiterate for people that are just joining, we're live right now with our clients, Ron and Marissa. It's so important to tell stories, and you guys inspire me. Marissa specifically, Ron, you allowing all of this to happen. I know that there had to be some type of, all right, let's do this, because it's very foreign for people to meet somebody on Instagram, or maybe a little bit more normal now, and then to invest hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars so far away from properties you guys haven't seen. So, but Marissa, your fire is, and consistency and vision, right? You guys, for people that are just now watching, you're just now meeting Marissa and Ron for the first time, the vision that they have, it grows me as a realtor, it grows me as an agency owner, and the urgency and the amount of times you guys say yes and put in offers, it blows us back. We talk about you guys as ideal clients. We write your names down. When we say, who do we want to serve as an agency? Ron and Marissa. We start writing our clients down that makes sense for our long-term vision. So I definitely want to give you guys your flowers, but specifically, I wanted to make sure I noted that fire and drive and vision that your father clearly had, especially when you said, my mom is saying rent is cheaper, because that's where that blue collar mind goes. Absolutely. Right? My mom as well. My mom bought her first property at 54. That mind goes to, let's just rent. We can't afford it. And so for him to come over all of those adversities is phenomenal. And so basically what you're saying to me is, your dad now owns 58 units in LA. Mm-hmm. He's a multi-millionaire, and he still lives on a farm?
No, he has the farm in Mexico, but he will go back every once in a while. Like a cow was stolen. Like these are like modern day and farm problems. Like a cow was stolen at one point. But no, he lives in Los Angeles, and he lives in his humble house. But he just happens to own like multiple big buildings worth millions of dollars.
So can you talk to us a little bit about that strategy? And then I want to pivot to your strategy and how you found us. Was it, you grew up in the real estate industry, and this is kind of a normal,
I did.
it's normal
Yeah.
for you all, your brothers and sisters. Was he buying a property a year?
No, in the very beginning, it was, so I have to reiterate that we grew up poor. And so there was no money in terms of, let me just go buy a property, right? You couldn't do that. But what I understand now is that they were doing the BRR, the BRRRR method. So they were they were taking out equity, and they were taking out loans on each individual house. And it went by very slow in the very beginning, but over time, it became like, in the last 10 years, I feel like it's been like one a year.
Oh yeah.
In those first years, I remember being poor in terms of every single dollar went to buy a property.
Wow.
And I don't say that to say, oh, poor, I say it to say, my dad, my parents, my aunt and uncle, they found a way. And if it means eating beans and rice for those first couple years, then, something that you said is, whatever you plant today, I've heard you say this several times, whatever you plant today, you will eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I keep telling myself that because it is so true. Now, 30 years into my parents' investing journey, there have been several times when I've leaned on my parents and they said, don't worry. I got laid off at one point, and my dad said, don't worry about the kids' clothes. I'm going to buy their clothes, and don't worry about their, we're going to help you with this and with that. And that is a direct ability from their decisions 25 years ago.
I love it. So that's exactly what I say, you guys. I say the real estate you buy today will pay for the real estate you buy tomorrow. And so oftentimes we think, 200 doors, I got to go fast and so forth. But what you're teaching us and what you're showing us from your dad's story and legacy is the slow grind and the sacrifices over 30 years made him a multimillionaire today, but not just him a multimillionaire. Like the grandchildren have, it's just legacy. He changed the trajectory of his last name for generations to come.
Absolutely.
So it's just, I absolutely love it. It's remarkable.
So if I could just juxtapose and kind of put in the influence and kind of how there's a mirror to this. I did not grow up with Marissa's experience. And so when it was time for us to make these quote unquote adult decisions, it wasn't what I was used to. I didn't see representation with people that owned property, right? To me, people that owned property were not people that looked like me or spoke like me, or, my parents, rented their whole lives. And it took a paradigm shift for me to be comfortable to go into this space. And something that kind of is connected to what the theme of what's going on is that, and Marissa said, I said something to if we were talking about somebody, and I said, we all work hard, that person works hard. And Marissa said, it's not about just working hard, it's about working hard with purpose. And because there's people that work really, really hard that don't make, it's not that they don't have the opportunity, they don't put it in their mind that they have that opportunity, even though they don't have. And that is something Marissa's taught me, right? Like, yeah, working hard is, I think everybody works hard, but it's it's what you do with what you're working hard and with purpose that I think she learned from her dad. And now I've learned living with her through her experience.
I absolutely love that, because oftentimes the grind culture, we just got to grind it out, and that's a whole, I know we're writing Baba or Papa Hernandez a book. I know he's getting a book. He's got to have a movie.
Yeah. It's absolutely been a blessing. I cannot say that I cannot say that I am starting from scratch. I can say that it's a different journey now.
Yes.
And you know, from growing up and being amongst poverty in, you know, in the only thing I knew is that I I needed I knew I needed to get out of it for my children and the mindset that I had. But I also had this juxtaposition of um, of real estate, and I didn't know how to connect the two. I didn't have the tools to connect the two. Uh, and then I met you. So learning through was learning how to move forward in a different world, because I can't repeat. Unfortunately, I can't repeat the way my dad did it, because
Yes.
he does construction, and him and my uncle, they work on the houses together. We work 9 to 5, so we're not going to have that same experience.
Sure.
So you know, my children, my parents' grandchildren, my parents changed my life. But really, who's going to benefit are my children, because they're going to grow up having never experienced these, having experienced a different life.
Absolutely.
Say.
Absolutely. I want you guys to tell me, I don't know if I've asked you this before. How did you find out about our agency?
Yeah.
What was that conversation like between the two of you? And then what made you decide to make the call to us?
Yeah. So last year we had been trying to pay Ron's student loans off.
Right.
Student loans are a necessary evil, but you know, it was what it was. So I had really put it into my brain that I needed to get out of debt, because even it was a student loan debt, it was every dollar that I made belonged to someone else in my mind.
Mm.
And so as soon as that was done, it was like, okay, well, this is the moment that I've been waiting for. I now have some money. Well, I have opportunity, because I didn't have any money. We were zero broke when we paid off that debt. Now I have nothing holding me back. So let me channel that energy buying my actual rental property. I needed a duplex, and in my mind, I needed it. And I didn't know, I can't verbalize why I needed it, other than my dad had it and I needed it. And so I started just following generational wealth. I started really connecting with some of the East Coast people. And then I would just deep dive and say, oh, wow, well, if I can afford Chicago, what else is out there for me? And if I can afford, you know, this place, well, what else is out there for me? Because I know I can afford one really shitty place in LA, but what else is out there for me? And then just close by, just following, and then just really just a train of following different people. And
Sure.
then you had this model that I had never seen before, and it was really like, well, can we do this? And so now I bring it to Ron, and he did give me a little bit of pushback.
I did.
And I thought, you know what, let's just try it. It was, I had a tiny bit of money to say, well, I originally reached out, and I thought, well, I just need to save money. And so I wasn't really planning to do anything at that point.
Sure.
But I learned I could.
So can I talk, because I'm sure that's part of what's going on with your list, the people that follow you, Gabby. And again, this is my pushback leads all to the fact that it's not what I was used to,
Yeah.
right? Not only was I not used to the idea of buying property or investing in property, but then you're asking, you know, then we're doing this new step of like, we're going to partner up with someone that we met through Instagram. And at the end of the, you know, I pushed back with Marissa, and then I realized, you know what? Marissa's instincts have been right with this. So I'm going to trust her instincts, and here we are. It's been, and her instincts were right again. So, but I do want to share that it wasn't like, oh, we're on board and we're in sync, and yes, everything's like, because I'm sure people believe that, like, people that are able to go from X, Y to Z, and like, oh, that's impossible. And I'm sure it was frictionless. Like, no, there was friction, there was pushback, but you just got to trust. And Marissa's instincts were great.
Absolutely. And that's why I specifically chose the Hartzalks. If they're on, the same thing happened. Anthony was on. Miss Hartzalk was absolutely not, right? And so it's so important to share that story because, one, it helps me to tell people I'm real. I'm a real person, and this is a real business. But also that's okay and that's normal. When you decide you guys started a business in St. Louis, you started a business in Missouri. And so even if you started a coffee shop down the street, these same types of conversations would happen. It just happened to be real estate in St. Louis, and you chose an agency that does everything. And so I want to make sure I make space for anybody that's new and just now jumping on that don't know my framework and exactly what we do and what they're heading towards. So Marissa and Ron gave us a call. I think we did a video call, maybe an hour or so, and we got to know their investing needs. We learned their story, and I instantly knew, I can pretty much tell if a client is going to be a winner. I can tell really quickly. I instantly knew they were going to be a winner. Now, I will say this. I didn't think y'all was going to win this much. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I knew you'd buy a house or two, but we'll get into some of the things that they've been able to accomplish in maybe less than 6 months. So when they called us, we wrote down, we record everything. We wrote down all of their goals and their aspirations, how much capital they had, what was good, bad, and ugly. And then once you have this call with us, you go to the next step and you pay your invoice and you join. Now, typically, you guys, if you're listening to me, it takes a client, I don't know, a month and a half, right, to say yes to a property. I'm presenting properties. We can't close. This happened. They want to change the process. They ran out of money. It typically takes a month and a half. But Marissa and Ron, I'll let you share. When I presented the first property, how long until you joined and you had that first property under contract?
I feel like we've had so many offers since then. It's a whole new life cycle since that happened.
I know.
I think we joined in maybe November.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And we closed in 15 days, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that it was really quick. It was less than 30 days.
Yep.
It was
Yeah,
less
it's really fast.
30 days, and we were able to buy 2 on that first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because the first rental income was in December, so it was November. We started in November. By December 1st, I got some rental income. Yeah.
Yep. And so I want to share with you all their strategy because it is. There's no strategy that's foolproof, but this strategy really works for Ron and Marissa. It works like, it's just like, it's for them. It's meant for their lifestyle. So just like she said, they joined in November. They got their first rental income check December, somewhere within there. And so when I look back at when we started and when we put the first offer in, it was less than 2 weeks. They were putting in strong and competitive offers. I can text Marissa a property. She says, if you trust it, let's do it. And so what's going to happen when we jump off this live, for my clients that are in here, they're going to call me or email me, and people are going to DM me. And I need you guys to understand the reason why, as we go into their strategy, the reason why this works is because Marissa trusts the process. Ron and Marissa, how many houses have I told you guys we can't buy this and we've walked away from?
Oh, we went into I know we've had 3 contracts that we had to pull out of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I like to share that because I'm not just letting you guys buy just anything on the market. I'll say, Marissa, we can't buy this. Or I'll say, we can buy this, but when this tenant moves out, we got to do a lot of stuff. And then you decide what the risk tolerance is. And so you guys are so unique because your risk tolerance is higher also you're already in the industry. You
Right.
trust each other. Oftentimes the husband will call me and the wife will say no. And so we're losing out on deals because of the dynamic doesn't click even at home. And so it can't click with the realtor if you guys aren't on one accord. So that's just a little nugget for some of my clients that are on here. Talk to your husband and wives. Do not call me tonight. Okay, so we got the first property, you guys, within 10 days. Close on the first property within 30 days. Every property that we buy, you guys, we walk for you. We do inspections. We meet the tenants. We sign or renew leases. We do the whole thing. Can you guys just share, in terms of sweat equity, share with people who are totally new to this process, what all do you do as clients?
Ron, I'll let Ron answer. Ron, what do you do?
What do you do? What do you guys do?
Oh, so I'm an attorney.
No, what do you do for this? What do you do for this?
The short answer is I trust Marissa's instincts. And she's led me and the family great, and that's the short answer. So,
and the long answer is Gabby says, "Does this look good?" And I say yes.
Right.
And she puts in an offer.
Right. And what I'd like to point out, and I kind of something you've talked about, Gabby, is what, at first, I was like, okay, we're committing, but what's going on? What does this look like? What does this look like? And what I really liked was that when we had a meeting and you guys talked to us about the inspection you guys had and had pictures and talked about it, and the way you guys talked about not only the property and what needs to get done, but also your interaction with clients, the tenants. And it made me realize, because I work on instinct, right? Is that you, Gabby, you care about the people that are in these places.
Yes.
And that to me translates that you're a decent human being and your heart is in the right place. And that made me calm, right? That calmed my anxiety down to be like, okay, Gabby's trustworthy, her team's trustworthy. Let's go. So I was really impressed with that the first, like, we had a Zoom meeting and you and your team, you sat down, you gave the pictures, but you got the way you guys talked about how you're interacting with the tenants. I'm like, oh, you guys are good people. And I found that so, that built a lot of goodwill with me. And from there it just went up.
I love it.
Yeah. For what, like a daily workflow with working with you, you send me a property. I look at it. To be honest, now I don't really look at it. I just say yes.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll do like a rental, see how much would be made. And then I say yes, make an offer. And then from there, you take it on and you meet with the tenant. You give feedback on what needs to be done. You provide a portal on projects that need to be worked on. I sign paperwork, and that's it.
That's it. Yep. I love it. I want to go back to the point with Ron because we have our company promise and we have our core values, and in our core values, one of those things is integrity. And so I would be remiss if I allow raging capitalists into this agency. There has to be a balance between capitalistic and community. And so as we inherit tenants, because that's the strategy for you all, it's super important that we meet the tenants, that they're not disgruntled, that I can put, face with name and spirit, and are they Section 8, are they not? And so I remember walking properties for you guys. John had his, gun because we were going into various neighborhoods. Actually, they were pretty good neighborhoods, but we always keep a gun. And so it's 8 o'clock at night, and the tenant is like, "You want some fried chicken?" I was like, "I kind of do," right? And so it's about the people. It's about the people on this end because you're my clients, but also at the very core of what we do, we serve a need as investors for the community. People need great places to live that are safe. And so when we inherit houses, you guys know this, we ask your tenants, if you can change anything about this house, what would you change?
Right.
Because if we walk in, you guys, if you're learning from me right now, we walk in and say, how's everything going? The tenant is a little bit anxious that they're going to have to get kicked out. And so they're like, well, everything's fine, trying to seem like, okay. But if I say, if you can change anything about this house, what would you change? They start walking me around. This window doesn't work, and this right here is broken. You see what I mean? And so we like to keep really open, streamlined communication, and we're really respectful. Oftentimes, you guys are inheriting elders.
Yeah.
I think you have all elders. Oh, you have a single mom. I think the rest are elders. And so we're really respectful. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. We take their phone numbers down. Sometimes they don't call us back, but we build rapport because we know that we're representing you guys. So I'm grateful that you were able to see that, Ron, because that wasn't intentional. That's really my spirit. As a person that grew up on Section 8, I feel privileged that this is my life, that I get to take care of people in Section 8 housing, that I get to make them beautiful. I get to fix things that they would never tell another type of landlord that it was broken and so forth. Yeah. So before we joined the Real Estate Bae Agency, you guys had one house you were renting out in LA.
Yeah.
And can you share with us how much, because I'm looking at the year, how much that house was cash flowing you guys for a year?
Nothing. It was cash flowing at the time, I think $150.
It was 100. Okay.
Yeah, It was $150 a month. It was a good buy. That house allowed us to do this, but cash flow $150 a month. Yeah.
Yep. And so you all, if you're watching, well, I know you're watching, I don't know why I keep saying that. So Ron and Marissa live in the LA market, and so they have a house that has a lot of equity, but low appreciation. And so a lot of people call me, you guys, and they say, well, is it going to appreciate? And that's really not the right mindset that I need you to have for St. Louis, because it's going to be low appreciation, rich in cash flow, right? So my main clients are LA and New York City. Those are pretty much our main clients. And so it's because those markets are incredibly expensive. Oftentimes a client can pull out equity from their main house or a second house. And just like Ron and Marissa, they can buy 5, 6, 7 properties in St. Louis. Yeah. And we closed on a property today, you guys, and I'll let them share. I'm trying to think, did we get the email back? But we bought a property today. Can you share? What do I want you to share? Share that story and those numbers and how much you bought that property for today.
Yeah. So our first house we bought maybe 7 years ago. The market, and see, this is how important it is for people to realize that yes, that's not going to be your dream house today. It's not going to be your dream house 5 years from now. You need to start somewhere. That house, I have my little house in the hood that I rehabbed. From that house, I pulled out $100,000 to buy my current house. Now that was 2 years ago, and then COVID hit, and something happened with the market where the equity went up again, and I pulled out another 150 from that house, and close to 100 from this house. So I came in with 250 of equity from my tiny house in LA in the hood. But with that, I've been able to cash flow. To me, I am rich in houses now. The house closed today was $46,000, and the rental income is $800 on the cash flow.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So she bought a house today, you guys. So congratulations. This was one of those houses where I know I can send Marissa specific houses. And just to be quite frank, I send Marissa houses that I don't send other clients because I know her palate. We talk every week, and I know what she can stomach. And when we walk it, well, I'm real with all the clients. I'll say, you can't buy this. You can't stomach this. Marissa can stomach a lot of stuff. Where is it cash flowing? Is it livable and safe? Is the tenant paying? Those are her filters. There's other people that want to come and work with us, and their filters are, well, the street looks dirty because they're on Google Maps, or where is it located? Or I Googled the street and there's crime. Marissa is very, you guys are very focused. I want to preference this because again, my inbox is going to blow up. You guys are the most focused clients I've ever had in my life on cash flow. And that to me is a dream because I'm the cash flow queen, okay? So you have been knighted as cash flow kings and queens yourself. So when you guys stay focused, I'm real. So we saw this house we were getting ready to buy. I said, John, what's it looking like? We're looking at the pictures. We're looking at the talking to the tenant. He said, it's rough, but this is what we're going to be able to do after. And just like you just said, Marissa, it's not pretty today, but what's the potential?
That's right.
And it's cash flowing. It's cash flowing $800. You sign on a dotted line. I think we negotiated down a few $1,000s. And when that tenant moves out, I'm gonna make it like the front of a magazine, right? And then we're gonna take the rent all the way up. So you guys never lose focus on pretty. You stay so consistent on whether it's profitable or not, and it allows my job to just be like smoothest, smooth as it can be.
Yeah, and I think I learned that just from growing up where I did. I'm not missing out on anything because I never had it in the first place, you know. And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me.
If you guys saw my first house, well, sometimes I post it, and even the other rentals, oh my God, you'd be like, Gabby. I'm like, what is the, I mean, like what's the potential of it, right? And so that's what makes a good investor, because oftentimes I think, and I know I say this and then I celebrate beautiful houses, but we do get distracted on what's pretty and what's pretty. And I can tell you that 90% of the houses that look really, really good are not profitable. And this is my favorite part about the people that chase the pretty houses. Baby, you can't afford them. I want a house in the neighborhood. Baby, you can't afford to be in that neighborhood. I'm going to put you in the hood next to Marissa, right? You'll be okay, right? And so that is super important. It's been really, really easy and just like butter to work with you guys.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Tell me, because I really did lose count. I know we were texting earlier. How many houses do you guys have now?
Well, we have we had our previous house, and we have 3 that we bought with you since December, and then we have our current house. So we own 5 houses.
I love it.
We live in 1, so 4 investments.
4 investment properties, and you were able to. So November, December, January, 4 months. You bought almost a house a month. If we can find one more this month, we will be at a house a month.
Yeah,
so
I want to buy a house a month. I have a goal. So one of the things that I when I started working with Gabby, I thought, well, I can afford a $50,000 house, and if I lose $50,000, it'll hurt, but I can make it up. And so I thought, I'm just gonna buy 1 house. And then I listened to one of your lives, and I started deep diving again and into this whole world of generational wealth and using real estate. I follow Aisha Sheldon. I follow a lot of different other people. And I thought, wait a minute, why can't I do this? And that was just like, I can do this. And and so it was just full steam ahead after I learned that I can cash flow. I can meet my goal of cash flowing $10,000 a month in this year, and I believe that we will do it. I know we will do it. It was something I didn't know 3 months ago.
Yeah. And it's the power of the market and what we're able to do and how fast we're able to move. So of course it's me, there's plenty of people that come to St. Louis and try to emulate this, and I really don't care, because the secret sauce is with us. The secret sauce is John and Brandy and myself. Like, that's the sauce. And so you could buy 1 property where I would close on 10 in a month with clients. And keeping the main thing. So where are the properties? Are they close to my other Real Estate Bae clients? We preference that because I really I want to build up certain zip codes we chase. are we paying over what we should? How can we negotiate down? And then specifically for you guys, are the tenants in place? And so that's been, so if you guys are listening to us, Ron and Marissa's strategy are their top priority strategy, and it's working really well, are buying with the tenants in place. Let me tell you guys what it's able to skip them on. It's able to skip them on inspections from the city. It's able to skip them on the fees for placing tenants. It's able to skip them on renovations. We're able to skip who's going to cut the grass, who's going to mow the snow, can they have dogs or not, writing leases, a tenant. They skip like 50 steps just by saying we're buying properties with tenants in place, right? And so what you guys are able to do in 3 weeks, a client with me does in 3 months, because of all of the things in between that have to happen. Eventually we'll have to come back and fix a property up and do that, but you already are on the train. And I think that's what makes an amazing story.
And that's the strategy, because I know a lot of people don't like Section 8, but as I've mentioned before, I grew up with access to that through my parents' property, and I know it can be hard, but I also know it can be incredibly easy. So a lot of people say I don't want it, and I say give me every single one you have.
She does.
Yeah. And also too, I think people that are repelled at the idea of Section 8 are the same people who just want pretty, right? Because there's this view of like how things would be nice, but being open to other possibilities that work is something that Marissa's always been very kind of diligent and driving force on. And I've learned that, right? Like, people that want pretty are also the people like, oh, Section 8. Like, well, what's wrong with Section 8?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it, right? They can't identify anything other than this cloud that they believe exists over it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I push back on that. We don't actually even take clients that have that mentality. Now we're getting really specific about the client that we take. We took December off in terms of acquiring clients, and we looked at our top performers and the people that really understood what they wanted, and then they aligned with our mission. And now we don't even take clients that talk like that, because you're in St. Louis. So all of those, unless you're coming to me with $500,000 liquid, you're going to be right next to Marissa in the hood, and next to me too. Hey, and John's houses. Listen, we won't get into them. They get scary. So this is where we are now. We have 5 houses total. We were able to do that in 4 months. I want you guys to kind of share with people, there's plenty of people who watch my live, they DM me, I'm coming, I'm going to do it. And there's people, you guys, who say, I've been watching you for 9 months, but it wasn't until I heard this that I said, let me do this. What would you tell those people, and I'll start with Ron, that are right on the fence, and like, is this girl real? Should I do this? What would you tell them, and what advice would you give?
That's a great question. I think just investing time and listening to what you've already posted on social media. Take the time. You have so much content, so much talking. What a great way to say it. So many things that you've been talking on different topics, right? And also, when Marissa told me about you, I went in there. You have hours and hours of content. And invest, if you want to take a step like this, invest time in it, right? Don't just be like, well, I'm going to pay someone else to do the work for me. Like, well, then you're not really emotionally, at least a little bit emotionally invested. Invest some time learning about the person. And that's what we did. And that's what I did because I was, so that's the first thing I would do. And the second thing, after you're like, I would like to get to know this person, interact with this person, then just interact with that person and ask questions, be thoughtful, come in with ideas. If this process is not and should not be one about like, okay, this is the margins I'd like, tell me what to do. That's just not, and be passive, right? What I've learned through Marissa is that you don't have to know everything, but you have to be curious and then be active in asking questions to figure out what you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. in that act of engaging your time and effort and mind, you can move forward collaboratively.
I love it. Absolutely. I love that you're hitting towards educating themselves on me. Because let me tell you guys something. I'm a specific type of coach and a specific type of realtor. Can I just be real quick? And I'll give you your money back. If it's bye bye. Like I have to say that because I'm looking for a specific type of client, and it means no disrespect. I don't let my clients whine about money. I was saying it earlier on the call. I don't let you stress about money. When you come in, we changed some things, Ron and Marissa. When you guys join us now in the agency, you're gonna write a business plan. It's about 4 pages. It's a template. And this is what you commit to for yourself. And then I shop based on the plan you wrote. So when you start saying, well, maybe I should, the doubt, I can't coach the mindset because we're getting so big. And so when you come to me, I want you to meet me halfway. And what we see sometimes is people haven't researched me enough. They're not prepared in terms of capacity. I've learned in this process, having capital and having capacity are 2 different things. I used to think they were one and the same. And also, some people aren't for this process, no matter how much money they have. I sat on the phone with millionaires, and I turned to John after the call and said, we can't take them, right? And so please, if you're interested, please get to know me. You can always book a call. We do free calls every Wednesday, by the way. And so shout out to Gurneen. Listen, you guys, I've had a lot of first-time clients. I feel like Gurneen was like my second client ever. She made $54,000 with me in like 5 months. She lives in Miami. Absolutely love her. She was the first client to say, I don't know who you are, but here's all my money. And then I said, okay, let's flip it. And so she's awesome. She kind of reminds me of you guys in terms of being able to say yes and move really fast. Marissa, what would you tell people that are on the fence and thinking about joining our agency and they have questions about our processes or whatever?
Yeah, I would say if you have the fire, you have to have a fire to move beyond whatever your situation is, and tap into that fire and say, I'm not going to grow, I'm not going to do anything by not by just sitting here. So if you're thinking about jumping in, just jump. You can fail. You will fail. You will not fail with Gabby though, because it's a measured risk. It's a measured risk. Jump in. Be afraid. Do it anyway. Get yourself whatever you need to do to get your 20% down or your cash. Eat rice and beans. Pull equity from your house. Whatever it is, because once you get that taste of that first one, you're just going to want more and more and more, and it's going to keep going.
I love it. Absolutely. I 100% agree. I love the fact that you hinted towards the 20% because, of course, you guys, if you're new to my agency, we do take loans. We have a preferred lender that we let you guys borrow and talk to. He's the vice president of a national bank. Phenomenal. He's my personal mentor. And he does the same thing. He'll say, can't buy that house. And I'm saying, well, hold on, let me see which one. Maybe I can fix some things. So you have a team when you come to St. Louis. Ron and Marissa spoke to the fact that they don't do anything. No. They say yes, they sign paperwork, they cash flow. Ooh, yeah, that's a tweet. So all of the other things, there's people that are thinking, well, what about this? Well, what about this? I told a group of ladies today, they're thinking about joining the agency. I said, every question you have won't be answered in this 20-minute call, right? It's when you jump that you get access to me for 12 months, and then we just continue to undo this idea that you're limited because you're not rich, you're limited because you're a woman, you're limited because you're a single mom. Like, we work with all walks of life and are able to get people cash flow when they stay committed. They know why they hired me. They don't forget. They're respectful and they stay committed to the process. So you guys have been a joy. Talk about you guys all the time.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much. It's been great. I mean, I cannot tell you how professional Gabby has been, and it's really changed my thinking about what I can do for myself and what for my children. And if you're in that position of wanting to build generational wealth, wanting to just grow it, real estate is really an important way to do it. And
Yeah.
Gabby is one of the best. So I think that I cannot speak more highly enough of how much we trust her.
Yes.
Yes, trust, lots of trust, right?
Lots of
We have
trust.
never, imagine this, we have never met Gabby. We personally,
We've never been to St. Louis.
we've
So.
never been to St. Louis, and this relationship was forged based through faith and interaction, and it has worked. It's worked out. The only way I don't think there is a way to fail with Gabby, personally. So just the way you've been. So we're very lucky to have found you, and I thank my wife that she found you.
Yes, I love it. I love you guys. I love that. I'm going to tweet that when we get done. You can't fail with Gabby. Signed, Ron and Marissa. I'm dead serious. But I love that because you know what? I'll say this last little piece, you guys, and then I'll take you guys to go to my website for more information. The reason why you won't fail with me is because I don't fail. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. The strategy and the data, you can't fail when you do what I do the way that I do it. And every single house that we buy, I look at every single house, every tenant we place, they don't get placed. You can ask my staff, they don't place tenants without me seeing them first. Have you called the landlord that they currently rent from? Have you called their current jobs, right? Have they sent in a month's worth of income statements? Then even though my staff says, yes, of course, Gabby, I still look over everything. Brandy's probably on the call. She'll tell you everything has to go through my desk first because we are still a new agency. We cannot drop the ball and we cannot fail. And when things get hard, this is the piece that people have a hard time understanding. You got me. And when you have me, you have a broker, you have a property manager, you have somebody that's licensed and committed to the Missouri Real Estate Commission. You have Handyman, you have John, who's a beast. Right? You're not going to just be out there in St. Louis while you're, flying somewhere in the universe and your house is just on fire. It's a team and it's a family. It's a team effort and it's really a family niche. And this is why we only take specific people and we try to stick with a limited amount of people every 30 days. So what I want you guys to do, I got a lot of clients in here. Turning my phone off after this. You get a person around how many houses? What I want you guys to do is go to my website. I want you to click on the button. I'm ready to cash flow. Check out the application. I want you to think through these things. Really, I want you to pray as well. Ron talks about faith. I'm huge on. I prayed for my clients' houses yesterday. I was like, God, I need 5 houses in 3 days. You got me? So I want you guys to be aligned with my spirit and how I move. And so if you're feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be, the market that I'm currently in is too high. I need to pivot. Click the link in my bio, fill out the application, and you're going to get an automatic email to join a free clarity call with me on Wednesday. Okay, so I'm going to save this live. Ron and Marissa, do you have anything else? If not, we will.
Oh,
no.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was so cute.
I love it. Thank you all so much. I'll talk to you soon. Marissa, I got to pick up your key. Where is it at? It's in Clayton. So I'm going to pick up your key this week, and we'll go from there. We'll keep buying.
All right.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for everything, Gabby.
Bye,
Gabby.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.